Hello, everyone. This is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts, and this is a Q&A episode, so let's actually get started. So, Benjamin, your questions. Why wasn't Tanatosaurus chosen to appear in Dinosaur King Arcade? I do not know. I have never played the game. I do know about the anime a little bit, but not a lot. I haven't watched it enough. But, I really don't know. I really don't know. Does Carnotaurus have a bigger brain than Allosaurus? Well, when we look at Abelisaur brains and we compare them to, say, Allosaurus and Tyrannosaurus Rex, is that they're more on the primitive side. They're more on the primitive side of the theropod lineage. And so, because when we look at Abelisaurs, they're pretty much at this, pretty much a branch off of Ceratosaurus. And so when you look at Ceratosaurus in terms of the brain stuff, the brain, and you compare it to Allosaurus, they're completely different. Mainly because of, say, the senses on Allosaurus are a little bit more advanced than the Ceratosaurus ones, and so you probably think that it's going to be the same thing with the Carnotaurus. Is that you would think that the Abelisaurs would be more advanced than the Ceratosaurs, and also to the Allosaurs. But the thing is that doesn't always work that way. Is because when we look at Abelisaur brains, mainly just because of Majungasaurus, and we have a complete brain case of Majungasaurus. I believe there is a complete brain case of Carnotaurus, if I remember correctly. I don't know if it's been fully studied in terms of CT scanning and all of that, but I do believe is that Allosaurus brains are a little bit bigger. Mainly because they are able to process the information a lot better in terms of the ability to say the sense of smell, sense of sight, hearing, all that sorts of stuff. And so Carnotaurus, like all Abelisaurs, they do have really good senses. They get good sense of smell, good sense of hearing. Vision can be wonky at times in terms of how they're going to visualize certain things. Because remember, the Abelisaurs are sort of weird when it comes to the visual, for their vision. And it's because there is binocular vision type of things to them. But the thing is that their binocular vision is not great compared to Tyrannosaurs. And so that is going to be the determining factor. Is that how do they process this? And they're more likely going to have to go side to side like this most of the time, but they will actually look forward when they do need to. But it's very, very limited, very limited. And so but I would say Allosaurus has a bigger brain than Carnotaurus. Does Utahraptor have the speed, intelligence, and better weaponry to beat Ceratosaurus? Absolutely. Absolutely. And you see, I don't think it's a fair match at all. Utahraptor would just beat Ceratosaurus. Hands down. One is that Utahraptor is a heavyweight. They're nearly the same weight as Ceratosaurus. And then you actually look at is that Ceratosaurus is a medium-sized dinosaur compared to Utahraptor, and Utahraptor is the largest dromaeosaurid. And Utahraptor's got the better weaponry, it's got the better brain, better senses, everything. Now Ceratosaurus can get a good bite on it, but the thing is, Ceratosaurus is not a powerful biter at all. Because its teeth are not designed for powerful bites, and their jaws are not designed for powerful bites. They're designed to basically get a bite and get out of the way. Just basically get a slash, that's it. Slash, get away. They're not designed for close combat too much. Whereas Utahraptor can be used for close combat, even though that they're basically the heavyweights of the raptors or the dromaeosaurs. And so Utahraptor definitely has the better chance of actually beating Ceratosaurus. And is Gorgosaurus in the middle of the Tyrannosaur evolution? Yes and no. When we look at yes, in terms of that, it's kind of in the middle area in terms of Tyrannosaur evolution, where you got the speedier type of Tyrannosaurs like Utahraptor, and then of course Albertosaurus, which is the sister taxa to Gorgosaurus. And so when we look at Gorgosaurus, you think like, yeah, it does look like it's in the middle. Like it's got the speed of like it's got like the speed portion of like the Ilioramids, and then you also see like it's getting bulkier to like the similar to the later Tyrannosaurs like Daspletosaurus, Tarbosaurus, and Tyrannosaurus. But on the no part is that they're kind of not really in the middle. They're kind of on the late stage. They're still in the late stages because when we look at the Albertosaurans, Albertosaurans, is that they're actually kind of getting towards the bulkier side of the Tyrannosaur family like lineage. They're getting towards the bulkier side. But the thing is that Albertosaurus is more bulky than Gorgosaurus. Gorgosaurus is more slenderly built, but Albertosaurus can still run at a pretty good pace. Gorgosaurus is a bit more agile and faster. And so I would go in the realms as that it's yes and no. Yes and no. That's how I would actually describe it. Nicholas, and some of your questions. Would you do a review on Dino Deathmatch documentary in the future? Yes, absolutely. I'll probably be in several few to several months away because I got a lot of stuff to actually go through to actually do some extra episodes. But like Dino Deathmatch will definitely be one of them. But I'll definitely take a look. I'll definitely rewatch that when I get that chance. If Jane Nanotyrannus lethaeus is still growing, could a fully grown Nanotyrannus lethaeus grow 25 to 30 feet long as big as Gorgosaurus or not? Because since Jane is like a sub-adult, I would probably say no. I would say it would be close to 25 feet, but not really to the size of Gorgosaurus. Like, it could get close, but not really. Because remember, with the Nanotyrannus studies so far right now, is that because we know about Lancensis is going to be the smaller version of Nanotyrannus. And we know that it is an adult because of the dueling dinosaur specimen. And so with lethaeus, it's showing signs that it's still growing, but it's actually getting close to full size. So that probably meant it probably was getting close to more like an adult stage. Probably was like a couple of years off, and so it probably could grow close to, like, I would say more likely between 20 and 25 feet. More likely, not really to the extent of 25 to 30 feet, because that's stretching it. But could there still be a chance that it could reach that? Maybe. But we still have yet to find like a fully adult specimen, and even though there's some paleontologists that are claiming that there is, but we have to see which specimens are those. Have you seen this video on YouTube where paleontologist Nicholas Longrich compares the Bloody Mary Nanotyrannus skull to the new fossil remains of Stygivinator and thinks that Bloody Mary is not a Nanotyrannus but a Stygivinator? And what do you think of this? Well, I mean, this video was actually over a year ago, so because this study did not. So what his study was like trying to see the comparisons of Nanotyrannus to Tyrannosaurus Rex. Are they linked together? And that's what his study was, and saying that he does not at that time he did not have the necessary tools to actually confirm that Nanotyrannus was a separate species yet at that point in time. It wasn't until this paper that came out not too long ago, like a few months ago, about Nanotyrannus being a valid species. It was all thanks to much better technology and also to be able to look at multiple specimens a lot better. And so his study was looking at comparison, basically anatomy-wise, in terms of Nanotyrannus and Tyrannosaurus Rex. But he didn't do a full-on study about all the collections that are considered to be Nanotyrannus. He didn't do that. And so this, how he actually used Stygivinator, Now, Stitchivinator is still debated of whether or not it is a juvenile of Nanotyrannus or is it a juvenile of a T-Rex. We don't know yet. We need to actually study it a little bit more. And also, if there is another specimen that is considered to be a Stitchivinator, the scientists will look at that, the paleontologists will look at that and probably determine if it is a juvenile of Nanotyrannus or is it a juvenile of a T-Rex. And so Longridge did say in that video that there is a bone, a skull bone, a frontal bone of a juvenile T-Rex. And so we do have juvenile T-Rex. It's just that they don't look like Nanotyrannus. And so that's how he actually puts that into perspective right there. And so when we actually do, when paleontologists have to look at other specimens, they have to do them carefully. They have to scan. They also have to take measurements. They also have to do a lot of other things to know if this is actually a juvenile or a juvenile of a certain type of animal. And they have to do it very, very carefully. And also they got to look at the pattern of the bone. They got to look at the pattern of the bone, like every single bone, to determine if it is actually confirmed to be the same animal of an adult. You know, and at least he did find a juvenile T-Rex. And so at least that is one thing. There's no complete skull yet of a juvenile T-Rex. I mean, that's probably going to be the dream, you know, the ultimate goal. It's like, let's find a complete juvenile T-Rex skull to know what a juvenile T-Rex possibly did look like. But yeah, but I did watch that video thoroughly to know what he was talking about and understood it perfectly. At least he did it. He did a really good job of like using the right words necessary to like get the public's understanding of what he's talking about. And so at least that's a really good thing. I liked how he actually pronounces it, like just enunciated things. But yeah, great questions there, Nick. All right, Alex, your questions. Do you think that the three crests of Ceratosaurus vibrated when Ceratosaurus made very loud noises when the mouth was closed? I don't think so. When we look at the crests of Ceratosaurus, they're very thin. They're not like bulky or hollow. We don't see that in Ceratosaurus. They're kind of very pretty much distinct bone that is thin enough that there's no hollowness into them. So they wouldn't use the crests to make any noises. I don't think they vibrated that much. I think they were just mainly display purposes. They probably had been covered in a keratin and probably colored for display purposes only. That's probably more likely what it's going to be used for. Not really to make any noises. They're not hadrosaurs. Because hadrosaurs, like the crested hadrosaurs, like Parasaurolophus, Corythosaurus, Lambeosaurus, they have that. They have hollow chambers in those crests to make loud noises. But not Ceratosaurus. Ceratosaurus would never ever do that. And then your next question, do you think there were ceratopsians that would have lived with Tarbosaurus? Well, absolutely. I mean, Protoceratops, that's a ceratopsian. But it's a primitive ceratopsian. If I remember correctly, I think Sinoceratops was also around that time too, but I could be wrong on that. I think Sinoceratops was around there, but it's very rare to find large ceratopsians in Asia because all we find is a lot of the smaller animals. But I think Sinoceratops was around that kind of time, if I remember correctly. But but somebody please let me know in terms of the Nemegt formation and also other formations that have Tarbosaurus specimens. Let me know if there were other large ceratopsians in those formations. Because I do believe Sinoceratops was around, but it might have been a little bit more further away from Tarbosaurus, but I'm not totally sure. But I do think that, because when we do see that Protoceratops was around, It's just that Protoceratops was around for a very short period of time when Tarbosaurus was around. Because, like, first and foremost is that things happen in the environment, and the environment changes, and then that's when we start to see different types of animals show up. But Tarbosaurus lived around 75 to 68 million years ago, so that says a lot. That says a lot about like that time range for Tarbosaurus. And Protoceratops was around like 80 to 74 million years ago, so Protoceratops did see Tarbosaurus. This is that Tarbosaurus probably didn't bother to go after Protoceratops that much because, one, it's small. It's very small prey. Even though, like, I think the juvenile Tarbosaurus can probably were able to eat a Protoceratops, but I would probably say that the adults didn't bother with the smaller ones or the small prey like that. They probably would rather go after something that was a little bit larger. And so that's pretty much what I would go for. But yeah, I think there were ceratopsians around the time of Tarbosaurus. And so that's all the questions I got for you today. Next week will be the extra episode of my review of Prehistoric Planet Ice Age. So I will be watching every single episode to let you guys know what I think about them, and like and compare it to the previous seasons of Prehistoric Planet. How does it compare? And was the narration good, or the special effects really good? But like, please, everybody, don't spoil it for me. If you actually have seen Prehistoric Planet Ice Age, please don't spoil it for me. I want to watch it without any spoilers. And so please make sure to not give me any spoilers. But I will be reviewing Prehistoric Planet Ice Age for the extra episode next week. So stay tuned for that. And if you got any, well, actually, no, it's a special episode. It's a special episode next week. In 2 weeks, it's the extra episode of Prehistoric Planet. My bad. And so next week was a special episode. I'll let you guys know what kind of prehistoric I'm going to talk about, so stay tuned for that. But you can still send me questions about dinosaurs and other prehistoric life by emailing me at dinocrest71@gmail.com, or just go to my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you should post your questions in the comment section. Please put them in the comment section. Don't put them on Messenger. Messengers for private conversations only. So please put your questions in the comment section on any Facebook post. And also for you YouTubers out there, like the videos, subscribe to the channel. According to my analytics, a lot of you guys are checking out my channel and not subscribed yet. So please feel free to hit the like button, because that's how the YouTube algorithm works. The more likes the video gets, the more likely the video gets spread out to the people that are interested in dinosaurs, prehistoric life, paleontology, and geology in general. So please feel free to do so. And also share the videos, share the channel to anybody that's interested in dinosaurs, prehistoric life, paleontology, and geology in general. So please feel free to do so. And also, like I said, hit the subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so that we can get weekly notifications of every video that comes out. And if you go on my channel and go into the post tab, I post like news updates in paleontology, mainly in the dinosaur type of areas, and some updates on videos, and of course polls. I post polls every 3 days on the channel so that you guys can interact and actually get to see those polls. And check out those polls whenever you can. And also for you YouTubers out there, leave your questions in the comments section, because I do read them all. All of you guys are sending me questions via email, Facebook, and YouTube. You guys are awesome. Give me great questions for those Q&A episodes, so keep up the great work. And also make sure you keep your questions short to the point. You can also follow me on Instagram at dino.chris.pf. I post pretty cool stuff on there. You can also follow me on Threads, same thing, at dino.chris.pf. I post pretty cool stuff on there as well. Also, take care of the people around you, and also for younger people out there, mixed list, your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best motivation you could have to get education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, get a good job in the future. That's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time.